Peace. Coming to you making this particular video talk about compassion, or why black people need to have compassion for each other. We always ask, why do Mexicans or whites or Asians and all these people work together or get along? Well, because they don't, for at least from my observation, they see each other as brothers and sisters. They don't see anything other than trying to help another fellow brother or sister, get ahead, help them achieve something that they need to achieve so they can take care of their family. While they may not, have an overall goal to work together as a community, individually as families, they tend to work together better. This is just an observation. I could be incorrect. Maybe not everybody works together in their families. But when we specifically speak on black people and why they supposedly, have all these problems, is because what I feel is a lack of compassion. A lot of us, some of our parents weren't, good to us when we were children, and then we hold that against them as we get older. We don't want to be around them for the things they did to us as children, and we don't ever give them a chance to, try to, at least for me, what I feel is you should restart the memories or try to replace the bad things that happen, because even though family members may not be the greatest people in the world, they are our family. And, we got to start realizing, even though some of our family members ain't shit, or some of the people that look like us ain't shit, they still are our family and they still are our people. And, we still got to show them love and compassion, because not everybody's on the same level as far as awareness, consciousness, perspective, and experience. And when you have all of this, experience, consciousness, enlightenment, or whatever it is that you feel that you have that makes you feel better about yourself, we tend to feel like we're on a high horse. We tend to feel like we're better than other people because we've gained something that others didn't have in the past. With all this knowledge of self and all this great information, we have to have compassion for other people who have not come across this information, because we tend to get annoyed. I mean, I know I'll be one to, I get annoyed with people a lot because they just don't see certain things. And then I, just realizing that, compassion, not just for the fact that people don't see things in the way that you see it, but compassion because some of our family members and some people just, didn't know no better. Sometimes they didn't have the opportunities to provide better. Some people did the best they could, at least as far as they could see. The UN supposedly didn't inform people where they was having a meeting, and they got this pension. A lot of people write a lot of pensions up, and they had, some people had, a group of people had a pension to charge America, or Africans charge America for genocide. Supposedly, being that they weren't able to be informed of where the meeting was, they weren't able to, plead their case. With that bit of information, it just shows that, there's no peace. There ain't going to be no voting into this system. Ain't going to be nothing. It's going to be armed struggle or, something else, because it's ultimately, they're showing us that they do not care about us. And if we don't have compassion and care for ourselves, we're not going to get out of this condition. And that's just kind of what it is, regardless of what Stacey Dash may say, regardless of what anybody may say, because we can start with Stacey Dash, where she said some things that were quite, questionable, but people say questionable things all day long. And then we go to Polite, where he was taking a picture with Kris Jenner or whatever. People got beef with black people. We tear each other down so much more than anybody else. You could say the motherfucking sky is blue, and somebody's gonna say no, it's not. You know what I'm saying? You could say all the information that we have is secondhand information, which is the truth. Most of the information we do receive is secondhand, third hand, fourth hand, fifth hand, sixth hand information by the time it gets to individuals. So you can't never really take any of this shit, I wouldn't say serious, but you can't take it for truth. You can't take it for honesty. And we spend so much time trying to prove and disagree and disprove what another person says. I'm tired of that. I may have my ill feelings towards certain, organizations and groups, but the more I get older, I wouldn't say the more I get older, just each day, each experience I have with people, or maybe more so just I went to go visit my dad, and just you know, conversations we had, and then, you know, understanding that even though it wasn't the greatest, you know, experience, he did the best he could, and he's trying to do better. And outside of that, he's my father. He's all I have. I don't have anybody that else is a father. You know, most people don't have fathers. Sometimes people's fathers left them. So, I mean, the most credit, I can give him credit for being there, you know, trying. Some people don't even do that. And like I said, outside of what someone's parent or someone did to you in the past, especially if they're black, we got to have some type of compassion. Now, if they ain't shit and they continue to show themselves as no good for you, then you obviously need not to deal with these individuals. But if there's someone who makes mistakes, and it's obviously you can give them a chance to grow, you know, you can have compassion is needed, regardless if you want to deal with your family or someone who is not on the same level as you. But we got to have compassion overall for each other. You know, it's not to say that you got to be, you know, on some bow out, or fuck it, or I'm a bitch, or I ain't gonna. No, it's about, you know, having compassion. We got to be able to listen. We got to be able to dialogue, because all this bickering and arguing back and forth shit is not going to get anything solved at all. None of it's going to get solved, whether Polite did this, whether Dr. Umar did that, whether Dr. York did this, whether Farrakhan did this, whether anybody did anything. What is it going to solve if we're going to continue tearing down people who are, you know, trying to do something? Yes, it's nothing wrong with holding people accountable. I'm for, you know, calling people on their contradictions, but it obviously has to be a way that you bring it to a person where it's compassionate, respectable, and they could, you know, obviously have some dialogue back and forth, you know. So everybody should be able to, you know, hold themselves accountable. You know, I hold myself accountable for shit that I do. All the things that I do, I know my faults, and I'm never out here trying to, at least I don't try to go out here and act like I'm better than anybody else, because I know I'm not. I know that I ain't shit, and I'm still striving to become a better person each day. I know my mistakes, and I strive to correct them every day, you know. But overall, we got to have a lot more compassion. Period. You know, we got to have more compassion. And just to think about certain things and the aspect of compassion, we're so gullible. We get so angry and worked up. Sitting here, you know, all this studying I done, it almost doesn't even make sense that they brought millions and millions of people across the Atlantic Ocean to enslave us. It almost like, how many of us could have survived that trip? There was already black people over here. That's not even debatable. We know that there was black people here before they even brought their asses on this side. You understand what I'm saying? So who's to say that we aren't the true natives of this land? And, you know, the so-called Indians or the so-called natives are not necessarily who they really are. A lot of this information is, like I said, secondhand information. So we can't prove a lot of this information unless we had like factories and we had like the scientific centers and the labs to prove all of this ourselves. Being that we don't have none of these organizations or none of these tools to prove anything, then we ain't got no power to prove any of this. All we all are out here is masturbating over theories and opinions. And I'm really tired of all that shit. Because we can say what we think it is, but all this shit is secondhand information. From the Bible to the Quran to the Kemet information to the Egyptian information to anything that we read is second or third hand information, or even worse. So, you know, once we realize that and we start really trying to have compassion for one another and start, you know, really trying to work together as far as, you know, bringing the resources together, we already see that they're not going to help us. We already see that none of this is going to work. You know what I'm saying? We can't expect the UN, the United States of America, or anybody to help us. It's up to us to help each other. And we got to have compassion in order for us to do that. But that's my video for today. Hopefully, I think I stayed on topic and I touched all the points that I wanted to touch. Hopefully, everybody's having a good year so far, or however, whatever people call it. But I'm out of this thing. Peace.